Welcome everyone. We're actually here at the Royal Adelaide Show at 2019, and Glenys and I have been judging some of the junior cookery and thought it'd be really good to give some tips and ideas for those of you who are thinking of entering next year. All of the judges here at the Royal Adelaide Show get so excited about junior cookery. We love the fact that you all bring in things that you've made at home and have practiced to bring in to be judged by us, and we love doing it. We all think you're going to be our future chefs and cooks and champion bakers. We'd like to talk about some specific categories, some specific classes in the schedule, but to start with, there's just some general tips that we think are really good for you all to think about. Number one is you need to go online and look at all of the different classes that are available, and then decide what you think might interest you. It's really important that when you look at the schedule and you decide on your class, that you read the instructions really carefully. So many times we get so upset judging for you because you haven't read the instructions properly, and sometimes you give us too many examples of something, sometimes they're the wrong shape, or you've done something that we've asked you not to do. Glenys has just given me an example of one of those times that we've had to say, unfortunately, we really can't judge this. This is an entrant from today's show, and in the schedule it asks definitely for 3 chocolate chip cookies, and unfortunately we've only got 2 to judge. So it means we'll look at it and we'll judge it, but we can't include it in the competition. So really important that you read and follow the instructions. Secondly, we think it's really important that if the class has a recipe that you need to follow, you need to make sure that you follow the recipe. A little later we'll look at a couple of those examples from this year and show you how one recipe can make things that look completely different. So make sure you read the recipe really carefully. Another tip that we have is practice, practice, practice. You get so much better with your cooking the more you do it, and you'll be amazed at how many new friends you'll make when you've got lots of goodies to share from practicing what you're going to enter at the show. Also, we do actually have an award for the best entries from a particular school. So if you're interested, why not talk to your friends and get some of your friends to enter as well from your school, and perhaps your school might win Best School Entry for the year. Part of the fun of entering at the show is that you can show your mum and dad or whoever else looks after you how good you are at cooking. Really important that you get your mum or dad or your carers to be involved and help you with reading recipes, checking your classes, shopping, and helping you get together everything you need to cook. Parents, caregivers, you need to be a really good role model to show your children how much you love cooking and how much you can help them enjoy it as well. It's also a great idea that if you still have aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas around, talk to them, see what they like to cook, find out some recipes that they might have from those good old days. Now we're looking at probably 2 of the more popular categories. Again, these are exhibits from the early childhood, the reception to year 3, and as you can see, some gorgeous entries here. We have the chocolate crackle section and the honey crackles, as I said, very popular. With your chocolate crackles, you'll see when you look in the schedule that there are some tips already in there to help you produce a really good chocolate crackle. One of those tips is to make sure that you cool down your cofer before you mix through, to make sure that you don't get a large lump of the chocolate cofer on the bottom of your chocolate crackle. And that's what you can see has happened there. So they haven't quite let it cool enough before they mix it through. Now you can see it is a very popular section, and we have our winners at the front here. We have first, second and third. Some of the comments that came from the judge that judged these were that the winners were the ones that probably had a little bit more cocoa in them, so there was a really good chocolate flavour. They had mixed through everything really well, and they were a good size and really neatly put into the patty pans. So winners there in chocolate crackles. Here we've got our honey crackles, and again, a lot of entrants, a very popular section. Again, we have our winners here, and in some of our sections we will give a 4th place or a highly commended if there's extra ones that are still really good. So, you know, you could be a winner, you never know. Winners here were because there were the complaints with some of the judging was that the honey crackers were too sticky, which means perhaps too much honey has been used and they were a bit sweet. The judge had trouble taking the honey crackle out of the patty pan, and in fact some of the patty pans would tear, and you can also see that there's some extra mix on the bottom there which we would judge down. So one of our winners over here was this one, and we can see it's come out cleanly from the patty pan. It had lovely flavour and not too sweet. This is your healthy lunchbox, and we do this class in reception to year 3 and year 4 to year 7. So this is class 93 this year, and it's called Healthy Lunchbox for School, Food Only, No Commercial Products. So let's have a look at what we've got. Now, this lunchbox won first prize, and you can see it looks fantastic. I'd be happy to eat that. Delicious little wrap, some lovely cucumber and carrots, some cheese and biscuits, an apple and some mandarin. Looks good to me. Some of the problems we had with this category and this class was that we have some commercially produced products. When I read the schedule, definitely no commercially produced products. So we've got a little bit of a problem there. Another thing that the judges here are talking about is we are all really concerned about the environment, and we're all trying really hard to get rid of single-use plastic. So we feel like we won't judge against you, but we want to encourage you not to use single-use plastic in your lunchboxes. This lunchbox would still be delicious without all those things wrapped up. So really think about what you're doing when you put together your lunchbox. Last point I've got is we've then got a beautiful lunchbox here, lots of beautiful fruit, a lovely idea putting blueberries with raspberries, I love it. But we've got some lollies. Now, lollies we know, sometimes food, but probably not what we're looking for in a healthy lunchbox. Okay, here we are at 2 of the classes that give you a specific recipe to follow. And as I said earlier, it's so important to make sure that you follow the recipe very carefully. This section is the banana bread, and you can see we had quite a few entries, which is wonderful, but have a look at the difference in the entries. All of them really quite different. So again, practice, practice, practice. Banana bread's a great thing to take to school, and your friends will love it. We have our winners at the front here, and you can see how beautiful the texture is on their bread. You can see that we always cut through the middle of the cake to make sure that it's cooked properly. When we're being really fussy, we'll have a look underneath to see if there's any marks from your cooling rack. So that's something to think about. But these all have been made beautifully. As I said, you need to practice, you need to understand your oven and the temperature of your oven. You need to choose your cake tins very carefully, because a darker cake tin will give you a darker edge on the outside. This one here, you can see where their paper has lined the tin. Now, again, if we're being really fussy, or if we've got 2 cakes that are just fantastic and we can't tell the difference, the one without the lines is the one that will win. So little things to take care of, attention to detail. Same with our chocolate chip cookies. Again, lots of entries, which makes us really happy. But how different do they all look? Again, winners up the front, and really it comes down to taste and texture. So practice as much as you can, take lots of chocolate chip cookies to school, and be really conscious of the size of the biscuit. Often in the class we'll give you a measurement to say how big it can be, but make sure they're all the same size and that you don't go too small or too big. We're now looking at class 92 this year, 2019, and this is Bought Biscuits, Edible Decorations 5, which means we need you to give us 5 different biscuits. You can do it a whole range of ways. They can be 5 separate biscuits, or they can be 5 biscuits that make up a story. Here we've got a great looking train, we've got a posy of flowers, so again, completely up to you. The thing I like about this category, particularly for the young ones, is that you can do it all on your own. All you need to do again is ask the adults in your life, buy some biscuits, maybe help you make a bit of icing, get you some lollies, and off you go. Your imagination is the only thing that will limit you. And it's really important that you do it. We want to see what you can do, not necessarily what the adults in your life can do. So be confident, be determined, and don't get any help from your adults. Right now we're going to look at my favourite class for the junior primary kids. And this is where you can really let yourself go. This class is called, and I'll read it for you, it is Fruit and Vegetable Novelty Design, Any Object, Animal, etc. And have a look at what we've got here. Absolutely amazing. And again, this is something you kids can do on your own. You just need to tell the adults in your life, I need a rock melon, some pineapples, some bananas, and go for it. Nice idea to maybe do a few sketches before you start, but have a look. We've got the best looking sea turtle I've seen for a very long time. I'm loving the motor car. That looks a bit like a sports car to me, perhaps Formula One. We've got some lovely flat ones as well, which I think is a great idea. Rather than going 3-dimensional, we've done 2, and I think that's an interesting idea. But really, this is a section for you just to have fun. So why not put together a sculpture for us here at the show to look at?